At OPTAVIA, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The following audio contains the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the OPTAVIA community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope these stories inspire you to continue your journey with or join OPTAVIA, but please note they have not been verified and your individual journey to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider in the U.S. or a doctor in Singapore and Hong Kong prior to beginning your journey with OPTAVIA. Additionally, this audio may contain income or earning representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with OPTAVIA is derived from successful sales efforts, which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. OPTAVIA acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to OPTAVIA coaches in the U.S., Hong Kong, and Singapore. For independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S., please see the OPTAVIA Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of U.S. coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan. Yours in Health, the OPTAVIA team.
We've got some amazing stories to share with you tonight, and I'm excited to share those with you. So let me start off. My name is Craig Blanchette, and I am a independent, certifiable. No, that's not right. I'm a certified OPTAVIA coach, and I absolutely love being part of OPTAVIA. It has changed my life in every way that's meaningful. You see on this little before and after pictures here, oddly enough, that picture on the left, the one with the neck meat, yeah, that one. I was actually, there's a race or a bike ride that goes from Seattle to Portland. It's called STP. And I use a wheelchair. I don't know, you guys probably couldn't tell. Can you see a wheelchair in this picture? Probably not. But anyway, I use a wheelchair. I was born this way, and so it's nothing new. It's pretty standard. But I was pretty overweight in the picture on the left, and but I still thought that I was, felt kind of athletic, and I still had this history of athletics. And then OPTAVIA helped me to really get back into the body that I felt most comfortable in, that gave me independence, allowed me to live the life that I love to live. And you see the picture on the right. Oh, that picture touches my heart. So first of all, a couple things about that photo. That's an off-road full suspension hand cycle. It's called a lasher. They're made in Las Vegas. So I got, I worked out a sponsorship to go. And so I also have the privilege of being a very connected grandpa, Scout. That's little Scout there. And she calls me Papa. And so she comes over and stays the night regularly. This was our Thursday morning bike ride. And she said, Papa, let's go ride bikes. And so I was like, okay. And usually I pull her behind me on the trailer. And she goes, no, I ride my bike. And I was like, okay. And so she hops on a little tricycle, and we went tooling down the sidewalk, and what a great memory there. So some of the beautiful things about what OPTAVIA has brought into my life, not only the physical health, but the relational health, and then the finances to be able to take time off. I've been able to buy my time back so I can spend it on things that matter most to me. Given a little background on OPTAVIA, worldwide obesity has nearly tripled since 1975. Think about that. Most of the world's population live in countries where overweight and obesity kills more people than underweight. Remember when we were younger, we'd see all these people that were starving? Now there's more people that are dying from obesity than are dying from starvation. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. To me, when I saw that stat, I just was like, whoa, okay, something's changed. American statistics, right? Almost a third of adults with partners, 31%, report that money is a major source of conflict in their relationships. Think about that. When you're stressed out about finances, that stress is significant, and it affects what you eat, how you act, what you say, what you do. Another stat here, 69% of workers were stressed over their finances. with fully 72% admitting to worrying about their personal finances work. So I got worry, stress, right? In July 2020, the rates of depression and anxiety in the US were more than triple those in early 2019. A simple question, how are you, has turned into an emotional minefield. Wow. So it's my pleasure now. We've got some stories of transformation to share with you tonight. And a longtime friend of mine, Erin, we're going to bring her on and she's going to share a little bit about these two photos and a little bit about her transformation. So why don't you come off of mute, Erin? And there you go. Welcome, Erin. Tell us a little bit about your story. It's so good to have you join us tonight.
Oh, thank you, Craig, for the opportunity to share my heart tonight. I would love to tell a little bit about my story. I'm just going to start with a little story from a couple of years ago. I was speaking with one of my sons who runs a successful inner city nonprofit in Pennsylvania, and they were seeing some big dreams come true. And I mentioned that I personally had a lot of delayed dreams, and he said, Mom, you really need to capture those dreams. You need to write them down and you need to make them tangible. So I did. I wrote down my 3 biggest dreams and I began to watch for an opening. And my health was one of those dreams. So fast forward to March of 2020, we were all in lockdown. And I'm not going to lie, the social part of me was already having some serious issues. And then my friend Craig reached out and he invited me to a community of people who gathered around the common purpose of getting healthy. And I was curious and locked down. So I attended my first Zoom meeting and exercised for the first time in 35 years. And I became friends with some amazing, encouraging people. And then a few weeks later, Craig reached out again. And he called to encourage me and asked me if I had seen any changes in my health. And immediately my defenses went up because I knew what he was talking about. He was talking about and asking about my weight. And that wasn't something that I wanted to talk to anybody about. But he spoke through my offense and he started to awaken my dreams. And he spoke so kindly to the broken parts of my heart that lived in a broken body. And he spoke to a body that had strong communication with hurting hips who screamed because the pressure and the weight that was on them. And then he spoke to the broken parts of my mind, trapped in the cycles of emotional mismanagement. And he asked me, Erin, what if you were standing on a shore and your dreams were on the other side? The problem is there's a river in between. So what if I offered you a ride in a boat to get to the other side? And what if we rode the boat together? And when the waves come and the boat rocks, I would be there to remind you of your dreams on the other side. Well, remember my written dreams? I jumped in the water and I ran to that boat. And on April 13th, I began to work on the healthy body part of the OPTAVIA trilogy. So within a few weeks, when the boat was well into the middle of the river and there was no jumping out, I started working on the second part of the OPTAVIA trilogy, the healthy mind. I chose to row the boat. I explored difficult relationships and I began shifting the way I was thinking. I started to take responsibility for my part in those relationships, but most importantly, I started to see the shore on the other side through new eyes. pretty soon others started to notice my change. And I asked Craig if they could join us. And he suggested that maybe I should teach them and I should coach them because they knew me, not him. But don't worry, he'd stay in the boat with me and we could row it together. So, in a very natural progression, I began the third part of the OPTAVIA trilogy, Healthy Finances. Coaching has become a real joy in my life. With the help of my mentor team, I have invited about 20 others to jump into the boat with me, and now we're all rowing together to get to the other side. Because we don't do anything in OPTAVIA alone, the rowing is easier, the dreams are bigger, our community is healthier, and the shore is so much closer. So let me encourage you tonight. If you are standing on the shore and there is a river between your current reality and your dreams, reach out to your coach or the person who invited you tonight and ask them about jumping in the boat with them, because wouldn't it be amazing if it was your boat that brought people to their dreams on the other shore?
So good. Erin, your story is so touching, and it's so, the visuals there of the process that we don't do it by ourselves, and that we chase after our dreams. It's just so inspiring. I don't know if you've read some of the chat, people in the chat, but they've it's been, I'm having a hard time. I can't read it because I start to cry. So I'm kind of ignoring it right now, but it's really good. So thank you, Erin, for sharing your story and just sharing your life with us and the transformation. I know there's more to come. I know you're not done yet. And it's so exciting to work with you.
Yeah, thank
So
you. Good
thank you.
night. God
Thanks for
bless.
having us. Yep, thanks. All right, so we got a couple. Wasn't that a fantastic story? We want to talk about the story really of OPTAVIA, and we talk about the idea of the credibility. You know, we've got lots of accolades. We've got lots of people that have come around and have said OPTAVIA is real, and but you know, even, you know, America's most trustworthy companies in 2007 and 2017, right? Fantastic, right? But the real proof is when somebody you know starts to transform and you go, what? I mean, to me, that's the proof. Does it actually work? Right? Does it work, and will it work for me? And I think those are the two questions that most people have to answer before they start. I'm going to go through a little bit about our 4 components. For those of you that haven't heard of these, we think about these 4 components, right? Everybody has a coach. I'm Erin's coach, right? They have the OPTAVIA, the Habits of Health Transformational System. Well, that's the path. I don't have to teach people how to do things. I just go on the path with them. That's what the transformational system happens. It's got your life book where we go through a little bit and it just builds on each other. Then our community, you guys are part of our community tonight by being on this call. Our OPTAVIA community, I think of the word community as common and unity pushed together. Community. And those are the things that when we get around like-minded people that care about the same things we care about and want to do something about it together. That's what community is. We have a fantastic community. And then we have scientifically designed fuelings. These are ways to get the proper nutrition in our body at the proper time and make it simple enough that it's doable. And that's the biggest component. If it's not doable, it doesn't matter how good it is. If it's not doable, you won't do it. We thought for a healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. And I always think about these 3 areas, right? Healthy body, weight, we got those, sleep, physical activity, relaxation, all that kind of stuff. Then we have the healthy mind. Healthy mind relates to relationships, the things that we do, our hobbies, our fun, our fulfillment, things like that, how we manage stress, how we take things personally. And then the finances. Well, what would it look like to not be so focused on yourself that you started paying attention and seeing other people that had needs? What if you had more finances than you needed? That's called abundance. When you have more than you need, you tend to spill it over onto other people. It is absolutely fantastic. So here's another way of kind of seeing how the four components connect with the trilogy. If you think about it, it's like kind of a house, and you got these four components: the coach, the transformation system, our community, and our fuelings. And those are kind of the foundational pillars. We build habits upon those that support the roof, and the roof is the trilogy. So that's what we're working towards, that these things will build to make healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances become an actual reality in our life. I love that graphic. So benefits from becoming an independent OPTAVIA coach. There's lots of benefits. I always think about this idea that you have, OPTAVIA has something to offer, and then you have something to offer. And so we're trying to find, is there a match? Is some of the things that you're looking for what OPTAVIA offers? And if there's a match, that's a fantastic thing. Then we talk, well, what next? What's that look? We want to look for that puzzle piece that fits. What I notice is a lot of people would love to be part of this idea of coming alongside somebody and helping them win, but they just don't know how to. And OPTAVIA, we teach you how to do that. But some of the biggest reasons why people actually decide to coach with us, the number one reason is it helps reinforce our own decision to become healthy. There's a sense of accountability and a sense of professionalness or importance when we're helping somebody else, that we stay in the game a little longer, a little deeper, a little harder. We get to pay it forward when we make a difference. I love celebrating with my clients when they are successful, when they're winning, when I see them transforming. I see them struggling through something to get that win on the other side, because they grew and they learned something. They saw something they couldn't see. It's fun and rewarding, and OPTAVIA compensates us really well. We actually are compensated by OPTAVIA for partnering and helping people. One of my mentors, Terry, she said, income follows skill set. So as you develop more skills, you'll help more people, and as you help more people, you get paid more. They go together. So you can either focus on developing clients, or you can focus on developing certain incomes. They're connected. You can't separate them. And I love the fact that it's always a win-win situation. And then we talk about leaving a legacy. I was thinking about this the other day. Every job I've had prior to OPTAVIA, when I quit and no longer there, I got one final paycheck and it ended. Do you know that with OPTAVIA, as you build a business, right? If you were to pass away or you were to stop coaching, you still have built this legacy. You've built this business where your income continues on. It's kind of like owning your own business. That's not kind of like it. It's exactly like it. It's fantastic. So we have a progressive growth model. And I love this because we don't teach you things before you need to know them. We call it just-in-time training. And we start out as an OPTAVIA coach. Typically, before that, you start off as a client. And then you realize, this is changing my life so much. I want to do something. I want to help some other people. So then you decide to become a coach. And there you go into that training program where we build skills, transfer skills, and we do everything with you and for you in the beginning. And then over time, you develop a proficiency and you move on to be a business coach. So now a business coach is where you're actually working with clients, and some of those clients have become coaches. And then moving on to what a business leader is, now you're working with groups of coaches. You still have your clients, you still have your coaches, but then you actually move to supporting groups of coaches. And in each one of those proficiency levels, there's a different, essentially, bucket of income that's available. And each one of those skill sets grows over time. It kind of, basically, you just get involved and stay involved, and these things will grow over time. You'll build skills and you'll develop new things. So next up, I want to have another story. Oh my goodness, I'm just so excited about the stories that we're sharing tonight. This couple is just dynamic. They're dynamite. And so it's my pleasure. I'm not going to tell any other story because they've got a fantastic one, but this is not only some coaches that I'm working with, but they become friends. And so welcome Matt and Jessica Floyd.
Hey guys,
So good to
I
see
think
you
my
guys.
I think my video's on, right?
It's on. We can see you and we can hear you.
Excellent. All right. So I'm Matt Floyd.
I'm Jessica.
And so when the pandemic hit, things changed in my life. I used to be traveling with my job every week. I was living in hotels and airports, and I was 100 pounds overweight, ate really good restaurants. The pandemic hit, and all of a sudden I'm not traveling. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to change things up. And guess what happened? I ended up putting on more weight, right? And so I was uncomfortable. I was embarrassed how I looked, and everything hurt. I wanted change. I didn't know what to do. I was following this guy. I was very active in my local mountain biking community, and I ski, and I followed this adventure guy called Craig Blanchette, right, on Instagram. And he was a health coach. And over the years, I had seen him involved in dozens, if not hundreds, of undeniable transformations. And I wanted that. That's what I wanted, right? And so I got to the point where I finally just reached out to him. I said, okay, how do I get here? And so Craig put me on program. I was very skeptical. Let's fast forward to where I am now. 8 months later, I'm 100 pounds down, right? I feel amazing. But in that process of going there, within 1 month's time, I was only down about 20 pounds. And I knew at that point, I had the confidence that this wasn't just for me, that this was something that other people would want. I knew that I was going to get to where I wanted to go, and I wanted to be part of this. And I asked Craig, okay, this can't just be for me, right? How do I get to participate in this? How do I get to be a part of this and share it with others? Well, Craig shared coaching with me, and just barely a month in, under 25 pounds loss. I mean, just barely starting out, I became a health coach. And in that process, so many things and good things happened. I mean, so I got to make a dream come happen, and that was to become a paraglide pilot, right? I was too heavy for that before, and all of a sudden I made this happen. Another thing that happened, I didn't realize I was going to be doing this, but about a month ago, my daughter got married, and so I got to show up at the wedding in a body 100 pounds lighter. I didn't have to hide behind people. I didn't have to, I wasn't embarrassed. Every photo was a great photo.
It was so much fun. He looked great. So when he started program, I was so excited for him. He was focused and determined, and he was introducing these amazing habits that was changing his life physically, I thought. So he had all the success, and I was really happy for him. But I was kind of separate from it. So I thought, oh, isn't that so nice for you? I don't know. I wasn't a part of it. I didn't know yet, right? I didn't know. And so what happened is as time went by, there were changes that I noticed that weren't physical. So he was happier. He was calmer. He was hopeful. He was making plans and setting goals. And I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted that. So I started to listen on his calls and meetings.
Yeah. So I would be in front of the camera like this, Craig, and I'd be talking, or I'd be on my local community time or the different meetings, and she'd be in the background. And the entire time she'd be like, wait, I like that. I agree with that. Oh, that's totally right. Yeah. And it was this slow conversion.
That's a great way of describing it. So I heard the words and the stories, just like we heard tonight, and they kind of stuck in my mind, and I think about them, and I loved it. So much positivity, so much encouragement, and people helping people. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a part of that. So yeah, I jumped right in. Yeah. And Matt set a huge goal. There was a challenge to go to Maui that was offered, and we made it.
And it was the first time that we got to meet OPTAVIA people face to face, and it was amazing because these absolutely wonderful people that that were very similar to us. Had
Yes,
the
and they
same
all had their
goals.
own hopes and dreams and goals, and it was incredible. We were so inspired. It was such a privilege to be there. We learned so much, and we came home ready to work, and we made some changes. So I realized that my job wasn't serving us or me or our family or anything. And so I left my job and decided to focus on this full time, and it's been incredible.
And also in that process, this is the first time in 19 years that I've been able to wake up in my own bed every day. And it turns out that as I'm waking up, as I'm spending this time with these people in my household, I'm like, wait a minute, I have this amazing marriage, this wife that I love being around every day and being around my kids every day. And so Craig and I have opened up that conversation. Can I really have that life where I don't have to travel every day, every week? And so that's something that's really wonderful that OPTAVIA that offers us, is that Jess and I get to work towards that.
And help people and do what we want to do and spread the hope that we feel and the excitement that we feel.
So I started out, I just really started out with just wanting a healthy body, just get healthier, right? But what started happening is that not just did I just get healthier, I got a healthier mind and healthier finances. And it's a privilege, and it's a great opportunity to be able to be part of this. Thank you, Craig.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys. What I just really want to sit here and clap for you. Thank you guys. Thank you for following this crazy guy on Instagram and reaching out and saying, "Hey, is that thing real? I want some of that," And I just like, oh my goodness. I love meeting the people that you've brought into and that you're helping, and it's just a delight. Your sister, there's so many people, and it's just so fantastic. Thank you guys for just I really feel this way. I feel like OPTAVIA has a lot to offer you, but I just feel like you have so much to offer OPTAVIA. And I know there's other people out there that have these amazing skill sets and these amazing hearts, and they want to help people. They just don't have the vehicle to do that. And I'm saying, I wonder if OPTAVIA will be right for you too. And it's awesome. So thank you guys for your story. As we're finishing up here, some of you guys are thinking, well, how does coaching work? Right? What do we do? Right? And it's a relational model. You can think about kind of this idea: is our job to go and to sell things? And I would say no. Right? Our job is to connect with humans and the people that and find out what makes their heart sing. And maybe their heart hasn't sang in a long time. Maybe they've forgotten how to sing, and their dreams have become deficient. And so we're a relational model where we come alongside people and we hear what they want, and then we show them a path to go get it. We're self-employed, and it's very independent. One of my favorite coaches, Becca, she says the hours are flexible, but they're not optional. So you have to actually, show up and do the work, but there's lots of flexibility. And I love that. We have full-time or part-time opportunities. Some people do this kind of as a hobby. Some people do this as a part-time. I always like to say it's full-time pay with part-time work. It's been for me. It's been fantastic. There's low startup costs. We don't carry inventory, and our job is not to sell things. Flexible business where you can work from anywhere. I love that. There's no quotas. There's no monthly purchases required. It's a different model than maybe you've seen before, because OPTAVIA is a different kind of thing. There's some ingredients and some similarities, but when you put it all together, it's one of a kind. It really is fantastic. And now this last one I love: training and support. So we set the path. You set the pace. We show you how to do each thing. The simplest way I know of saying that, and I use this analogy a lot, it makes the most sense to me. It's kind of like you're learning a new song, and each skill is like a song. And your coach or mentor will sing the song first, and you'll listen. And then at some point, you'll sing together. And then at some point, your mentor will stop singing, and you'll sing, and they'll listen to you sing, making sure you're singing on key and you're singing the right words. And then once you have a skill set down, we'll go to the next song or the next skill set. And we just progressively support you and train you along the way so you know everything. So we have a comprehensive training system. You learn as you earn. That's a nice thing. You don't have to go to school, and then when you're done with the school, you've got a big fat bill and no job. With OPTAVIA, you get to learn along the way as you actually help people, and you make a nice paycheck. You can work with the business coach and the mentors team. We talked about that. Employ team coaching, apprentice style. So that's the same thing we talked about, the singing aspect. And you work at your own pace. I love that fact. Some people like to really go. Some of the people's stories you've heard today have really decided, I got a lot of space in my heart for people, and let's go fill it up. And some people want to help just a few people at a time. And whatever you decide is up to you. We have optional local, regional, and national wellness training events. And so we have times where we can get together with other people. So it has been my pleasure to share a little bit about OPTAVIA. And really I want you to think about the stories that you heard tonight, and think about the different aspects of what we do with OPTAVIA, and really figure out, is this something that's going to bring value to my life? And if it is, connect with the person that shared this with you, and they'll explore that. They'll see, what's a fit? What do you have to offer? What does OPTAVIA have to offer? And if there's a match, then we go and then we just start doing, this is kind of corny, but we start to make beautiful music together, quite frankly. And that's really what it is. So thank you guys so much tonight for listening, for hanging around to the end. I hope I get to meet you guys in person someday, and we'll see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
At OPTAVIA, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The prior audio contained the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the OPTAVIA community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope those stories inspire you to continue your journey with or to consider joining OPTAVIA. But please note that they have not been verified, and your individual journey to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider in the US or a doctor in Singapore and Hong Kong prior to beginning your journey with OPTAVIA. Additionally, this audio may have contained income or earning representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with OPTAVIA is derived from successful sales efforts, which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. OPTAVIA acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to OPTAVIA coaches in the US, Hong Kong, and Singapore. For independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the US, please see the OPTAVIA Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of US coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.